All right, the next is Anthropological Linguistics. And this is the study of human languages. Philology is the study of language, philology, but that's a whole separate school of thought. They would be looking at roots, language types, systems. This is going to be looking at how linguistics interacts with other types of human behavior and how it separates us from other primates. So, for example, we use different speech patterns and different intonations with different people. For example, when I'm talking to a little baby, I'm talking very differently than I'm talking to, like, the president of the college. When I'm talking to a little baby, I'll usually bring down my vocabulary. It might be just googly sounds and funny noises and lots of physical gestures to interact with that child, that pre-linguistic child. But if I'm talking to, like, a peer, I'm going to have a more sophisticated language. I'm going to treat them as an equal. I'm going to be speaking in even tones. But if I'm talking to a superior, I may actually tone down my language. I may speak slightly softer, a little less demonstrative. I might avert my eyes a little from those in authority over me. And so we've learned different social cues and norms, and even in our intonation and the words we use are different around different groups of people. Like how you talk among your friends and peers might be very different from how you talk in front of your mama or your teacher in the classroom, right? And I'm amazed at my own children, how they can, like, sometimes when they don't know I'm listening, I'm just like, woo! It's like they could make a sailor's ears turn blue, but they can just turn it off when they're in my presence, which I appreciate. But I notice they have very different language in very different contexts and who they're communicating with. So that's one of the things they study. Another question they ask is, does the way people refer to objects and their environment tell us how they believe about them and about those things? And I think it's really interesting, like, what different cultures, which words they'll hold with, like, reverence and have high honor, and which are more in disdain. Like certain cultures, for example, Italians have incredible regard for their mothers, and the language they use when talking about their mothers might be much more reverential or filled with a type of awe or holy fear than other cultures might refer to women or their mothers, where they may not have as high status in those cultures. And so that's what the anthropological linguist is doing. They're looking at how people use words and using it to infer things about the culture itself. Another example would be things like taboo words. Each culture has a list of words that are taboo. Can anyone tell me what a taboo is?
Something that is wrong or looked at as wrong.
Yes, thank you, David. And it's so wrong, we usually don't even like to talk about it. It's like that kind of creepy in our culture. So a couple things that would be like taboo in our culture would be something like incest, bestiality. We don't even want to talk about that. I mean, for most of us, we've been brought up that that's so outside of bounds that you're probably not going to have discussions like that normally. It's a taboo topic. But we even have taboo words. And these are forbidden or improper words you're not supposed to use, which is weird that we have words we're not supposed to use, right? Because someone had to make them up. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you a list of taboo words in our culture, but I did just learn recently, actually just last semester, I learned the difference between profanity and obscenity. Now, they would all come under the category of what we would call, like, curse words or taboo words in our culture, at least in polite society. But would anyone like to take a guess at the difference between obscenity and profanity? Here's a clue. Oh, was someone going to ask? A clue is, think of what the word profane means. That will give you a clue to what profanity is. Or obscene, right? Obscenity. So some words are obscene, but others are profane. What makes something profane? Here's one more clue. The profane is the opposite or the antonym of the sacred or holy. Come on, talk to me.
Okay, my thought would be that profanity would be maybe bad language, or words that we consider to be bad words, versus obscenity maybe would be more crude language or like crude descriptions of things. But because it's the opposite of sacred things, I would imagine that the definition would probably be more like a perversion of something that was good. So
there you go. Right. Now, both of these are like, they're taboo words in our culture, at least in polite society, right? Now, they may not be taboo in your social groups, but in general culture, you don't use certain words. Profane words are where you take something that is holy or sacred and you drag it down into the commonplace. So that would be like taking the Lord's name in vain, or using like Jesus' name as like an adjective or a descriptor instead of as the Son of God. Or it could even be using things like heaven and hell as descriptors, like saying, if you say something like, what did I just see? I just saw an advertisement for some California food company, and I think they're calling themselves Hell of a Salad or something like that. But see, it's taking something like the seriousness of hell and it's turning it into a common descriptor word, like saying what the hell, or God damn it, or something like that. When we say something like that, saying damn it or damnation, that literally means wanting someone or sending someone to hell. And so when I'm driving around with people and they say something like, damn Sunday drivers, I'm like, do you really want people that are driving poorly to burn for eternity in the fiery pits of hell? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? Do you even know what the words mean that are coming out of your mouth? And that's part of my problem. I was raised Baptist fundamentalist, and we were taught a literal historical hermeneutic. So when people are using profanity, you can imagine my disdain when people start dropping the F-bombs, right? And you start taking those literally, and you're like, what are you saying? And they're looking at me like, are you from another planet? But that's what a profane word is. It's taking something holy and dragging it down into the gutter. Obscenity is like potty talk or sexual talk or crude talk that really isn't appropriate in whatever context you're using it in. So I guess I would put it this way. If you must curse, please be obscene rather than profane. Okay, moving on from there.